Welcome, my friends. Today we're going to learn how to find the inverse of an even exponent function. So, what you see over here towards the right, I drew the original function, right? X plus 3 means you move to the left by 3, and it went up by 2. Right there, okay? So here it is. Now that we have this right here, my friends, well, we want to find the inverse. Well, I did a quick sketch. This is the y equals x line. We know any inverse is going to be a reflection over that. And if you were to fold this in half, you should expect it to look something like the function down below. All right. So we're trying to find this individual right there. And put a little smiley face. This is what we want. And we're going to find it. So instead of writing f of x, the first thing I want to do is just write this as y equals 2 times x plus 3 squared plus 2. Well, when you're finding the inverse, you switch the inputs and the outputs. So we'll go ahead and switch the x and the y from the respective locations. And now we just do the inverse operations. Remember, if you want to find the inverse, it does the exact opposite that the original will do. And so if your function adds 2, what does your inverse do? It minuses 2. So let's just go, and we're basically solving for y, and you'll notice as we solve, we're undoing everything. So we're going to get x minus 2 is equal to 2 times y plus 3 squared. Okay, this is multiplying by 2. Last but not least, what do we do to get rid of this multiplying by 2? Well, we divide by 2, and we divide by 2, we divide by 2 by everything. Okay, so far we have x minus 2 all divided by 2 is equal to y plus 3 squared. Now, what you could do if you wanted, what's the number in front of the x that's invisible? Well, my friends, that is a 1. There's like an invisible 1 there, right? An invisible 1 multiplying the x. So if you wanted to, you don't have to, but if you wanted to, you could write this as 1/2 x, right? X divided by 2 is the same thing as just multiplying by 1/2. Okay, and then what's 2 divided by 2 right here? Well, that is 1, and so we get minus 1. It's equal to y plus 3 raised to the second power. Okay. All right. Well, what do we do next, my friends? We need to get rid of this 2. So what do you do to get rid of the exponent of 2? Well, of course, we can always take the square root because it's a 2. Okay. But instead of taking the inverse of that with the square root, let's raise everything to the, what is it? You got it, to the 1/2, my friend. Okay. Now remember, we raised everything to the 1/2. It's the same thing as the square root. The number on the bottom of the exponent of the fraction means what two numbers multiply to give you such and such. It's the same thing as square root. Okay, and these are going to cancel out. The reason why is, well, you have 2 times 1/2. Again, that's just the same thing as 2 divided by 2, which is just 1. And therefore, this is just 1 cancels out, and we get y plus 3. Okay, now we have to be careful because when we take the square root or when we raise anything to the 1/2 of an even exponent, you need to put our plus or minus because we're going to get the plus right here and we're going to get the minus, right? We're going to get two sides. We basically the two portions of the parabola, my friends. So now we have plus or minus 1/2 x minus 1 raised to the 1/2. Okay. This is obviously weirdly spaced out. And now to get rid of it, we subtract 3 to both sides, right? But we cannot subtract the 3 to the inside because it is now bounded by the square root or the 1/2. So we do that and we're going to get plus or minus 1/2 x, 1/2 times x minus 1 raised to the 1/2 minus 3 is equal to y. And there we go, my friend. An example of solving one of these problems. Let's go ahead and do another one, huh? Let's say I give you the equation f of x is equal to x minus 20 raised to the 8 divided by 5 plus 3. Let's find the inverse of this. Well, let's just rewrite this as y equals x minus 20 raised to the 8 all divided by 5, okay, plus 3. Now what we want to do is we want to switch the x and the y variables just like before. So we get x is equal to y minus 20 raised to the 8 all divided by 5, my friends. All right. Now we undo any addition or subtraction first. So let's subtract 3 to both sides. And we are going to get, x minus 3 is equal to y minus 20 raised to the 8. Let me just go ahead and bring it up here. We got x minus 3 is equal to y minus 20 raised to the 8th. Okay. This is all divided by 5. I forgot to put that there. All right, my friends. Now, what do we do to get rid of the division by 5? Well, you multiply by 5 to both sides. So multiply the 5 to both sides, my friends. Boom, boom. We get 5x minus 3 is equal to y minus 20 raised to the 8th. Now, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can. We could distribute the x across. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15 is equal to y minus 20 raised to the 8th. Now we want to get rid of the 8. So what do? Well, we multiply by its opposite, which is 1 over 8. Okay, because it's even, you know it's going to make a U shape. So we're going to have to put our plus or minus. We get plus or minus 5x minus 15 raised to the 1/8 is equal to y minus 20. The last thing to do is just get rid of the minus 20 by adding 20 to both sides, my friends. My friends. And we get plus or minus 5x minus 15 raised to the 1/8 plus 20 because, oops, I put 120. Okay, because we can't add anything to the inside because it's bounded by the 1/8. Okay, is equal to y, or now we can denote it like this, which means inverse, and we are done. Hopefully that helps out, my friend. I hope you had a good time in doing this. Take care and enjoy yourselves.